So there's a lot of interesting things to talk about today vis-a-vis Trump. Uh, the BBC, or this journalist from the BBC, put out an article in the London Spectator. Uh, Will Donald Trump be assassinated, ousted, or in a coup, or just impeached? And it's really digging deep to you know try and instigate the a conflict, instigate people, maybe instigate Maxine Waters to draw up impeachment charges, but for what? He hasn't done anything yet. Right? He hasn't. So yeah, there's a lot of the empire hitting at President Trump, trying to, because they can't control him, because they don't control him, and attacking him. This is they had this guy Wood, who is the journalist, putting out a dossier on Trump, and demonization of Trump. The prime minister is going to visit the Republicans' retreat, and she says she'll tell Trump what's what. And it's funny because these people think they're still in the old mindset. Right? They don't see what's happening in China and Russia and India and all these other places, and so they think that they're still all powerful because it's been that way for 30, 40 years. They've been in charge, and but now so many things are changing in so many different places in the world that things are changing right underfoot, and they aren't aware of it. They're not acting on it. They're just acting in the same way they have for 30 plus years, and as a result, there's going to be probably some fallout in London and here in the. But the British Prime Minister came to emphasize the special relationship with the U.S. and Britain, because she wants to go after Trump based on his attitude towards NATO, that it's a failed institution, that it's not going after terrorism. Yeah, and this is the junk. This is there's a clear war being fought over the Trump presidency, over where it's going to go, and there's the London financial circles are weighing in heavily, and it's dangerous. They've what is it? There's a new sort of get Trump operation coming out of this Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington. Right? They have and just trying to they say they have all this evidence on Trump. They've been collecting evidence, and they're just trying to build fear and to get people into all bellicose, into thinking they can take down Trump, and then not putting anything forward that'll actually it's they're not going to put anything forward themselves. They're not going to work with China and Russia or any of the other countries for economic development. They're not going to work to end terrorism. They're promoting terrorism. So yeah, these people are they're yeah. So there's a lot of that, and that's mainly what I wanted to talk about. I mean, it is a wild time to be alive, considering that the Alex Jones people are warning of assassination attempts, and it is there's a genuine worry that the empire is going to is moving to try and do something, to try and control Trump, because they see that NATO is falling apart, and that and that their empire is collapsing. And it's interesting that in that context, you have this Trump's was it Homeland Security advisor who has a very clear understanding of what's causing the crisis with Mexico, and who has been quoted as saying that that we don't need a wall, that that the situation is being created by the drug cartels, and by the violence, and by the lack of opportunity there, and by our legalization of drugs here in the United States. So we're feeding that. We're creating the market for the drug lords that are controlling Mexico. And so if we want to stop illegal immigration, stop stop the massacres that are happening in Mexico, or have normal relations, normal trade with Mexico, you shut down the dope and marijuana production here in the United States, and that's be a first step in working together to control and again move our two countries into a direction that would be for development, that would be good. So he's got a very he's got a very clear idea of what the cause of the problem is. That is this General John Kelly, right? And it's very comforting to hear, to see these quotes. Trump before had talked about building a wall, and even though that was taken down off of the site, it's clear that there are better. He's gathering better influences around him. Whether or not they'll always win out is another question. But we have to make sure that they win out in the key cases at least. So what else do I want to talk about? New science stuff. X-ray telescope on its way to Russia from SRG. It's interesting this what sort of requirements exist for this teaching online, this spaceflight course that's being taught online. It's just interesting, like what you could if it's all that's required is internet access or a certain limited proof, limited education, whatever, then you could potentially just say, okay, we're going to sit down a bunch of people in a developing country and give them the ability to go to space. Sit down a bunch of people in America and give them the ability to go to space. Give them an idea of how to change the industry, or change the future of this country by preparing for what a future industry that is needed, and is needed. So that'd be good. Yeah, that's pretty much what I had to talk about. I don't know if I'm trying to think of what else. The only other thing that comes to mind is I was listening on the radio, NPR or something, and there's a discussion about truckers retiring and having bad health, or retiring because of bad health, and so certain truckers have started instituting a monitoring system for their vitals, so they can sort of keep up an exercise program during the day, and you report back to somebody, and they talk to you about look, this is where your health is at, and we need you to stay healthy in order to because we need a viable trucking industry. So that's interesting. But the crucial things are with Trump, and that the war that's being waged around the empire's attempt to destabilize the Trump administration and to gain control again, even though it's falling apart. So lots of interesting controversy in the time period to come. And peace, and I'll see you all tomorrow.